Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 9th of March, comes to you from London. And gas prices are down substantially this morning, down nearly 20%. So it's a while since we've seen that move to the downside. But interestingly, we are pulling back. And just looking at global gas prices, and of course the announcement that that there's going to be a ban potentially on Russian oil, and the Russians then saying that they will switch off the gas. And then we're also seeing announcements out of the EU that they're going to reduce the dependency on Russian gas. So just one of the things I've said on LinkedIn this morning is it's hard to see how US gas prices will just remain flat if there's a renewed demand globally for that gas. So really interestingly, I think that we are going to see over the coming months and years some kind of move towards these markets becoming more aligned. So this is Asian LNG, and then we're seeing here the European products normalized to dollars and MMBTU. So basically, we are looking at the energy mix today down slightly, and so quite a bit of red on the screen. And if we then look to the main markets, we see here that we have got the dollar pushing higher. Really strong week last week, that's we've known about. Just pulling off a little bit at the moment, but the reality is that dollar is strong. Euro is still below 110, so we are still seeing these big downside targets in train, and almost certainly we will probably see the euro go below parity. When that will happen is a bit harder to say, but we don't have short-term targets pointing to that, but medium-term we do. Sterling is just back below the 120 level, so a fall away this morning on sterling. We're just seeing that continuing. We've got this new little downside target, but the reality is the overall trend is up. We did make a 6-year high, the highest level since Brexit, so quite key there. Bitcoin back above $40,000, up 8%, looking like it might be just finding support on this weekly cloud. So quite a strong move there for the cryptocurrency. The S&P 500 index, we had yesterday the market pointing to a slight recovery in the market, but by the end of the day we closed, and that was highly significant. We are seeing the futures up this morning, up 1.7% on the S&P E-mini, and on the Nasdaq we're up 2%. But interestingly, we talked about this yesterday. Apple did actually activate that downside target at the close yesterday. It was touch and go through the day, but it did actually activate it. So that's a 22% downside target for Apple activated. So you might be seeing a little bit of a relief rally today in the futures, and maybe a little bit of a bounce on the market, but that deed is done. Now looking at the VIX volatility, we are down this morning, so the market less fearful, but still in the 30s and trending up. So this might just be some short-term respite. The FTSE future up 2%. The DAX in Germany bouncing some 5%. So a really big relief rally there, but it doesn't change the trends, of course. So a lot of uncertainty. Will things get better or worse? Quite interesting that we're seeing that market rally in European stocks, but it's still within the scope of a downtrend. Asia was mostly lower. Chinese stocks down 1%. Starting to see quite big moves in China this week on global political fears, and China being a bit aligned with Russia. So we're just seeing political risk coming into play there a little bit. Looking at the Sensex, it was actually up 2.3%. It has been heavily sold, of course. A little bit of a bounce. This sentiment clearly happening as Asia was closing. India still open, and now Europe up, and the US futures up. So it'd be quite interesting to see. The Aussie market up 1%. We've talked about this, the only market not activating its downside target. We'll talk about the energy mix in a minute. Corn, wheat, corn, these products still holding their gains. Gold falling back a bit this morning, down 2%, but above that 2,000 level. So no big changes there. And US 10-year yields pushing back higher, set back to the 1.9 level. We do have this target of 2.2, and that's now a new target with that pullback. So not a massive thrust target, still quite a bit of uncertainty there. Looking at the energy mix now, Brent crude, we do have this potential to break this sort of triangle pattern, but we do have a little bit of downside this morning, down about 1%. US nat gas pushing higher, but we do have, again, downside targets there. Emissions look like they're recovering, up 6% this morning after yesterday's strong rise. We've moved to a higher high scenario. The fact we didn't make a lower low, this does look like a recovery, getting back above the cloud, and we've got targets here to boot. Looking at gas prices, down around 20% this morning, so not enough to yet break the cloud. We've got targets in either direction. We went neutral. It's just too hard to call first thing in the morning how the gas market is going to trade today. We could be up, we could be down. There's a lot of volatility in the market. You need to now watch it hour by hour, and of course use your 1 minute targets there. German power, if we look at German power, up down 5% this morning, did make that higher high back below the 180 level. The 180 level is pretty critical. We've got some upside targets. Note how that new downside target 177 was met. Keep an eye on your OTC. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. Bye for now. See you then.